Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. We are going in depth into The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, now out on Disney+. Another great episode. We discussed it a little bit in our review episode, but now we're getting into spoilers. So Akram, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, as I said before, this is such a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I always say this is my favorite episode, but no, this time this is my favorite episode. Really short, but I think they got to the point. We see a lot of character development throughout the season, and I like how they show respect to the side characters that have a huge history in Star Wars mythology. So that's really cool. So we're going to dive right into it. So guys, stick with us. Dylan, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I guess firstly, let's start off with the Grogu, because I think that was a big takeaway from this episode, was we saw Mando is trying finally to get Grogu into the Mandalorian culture, which is kind of comical. We talked a little bit about it. It just feels like, because he's so small, it doesn't feel like he's not even like Jedi material yet. Like, what the fuck are you going to do for like Mandalorian, right? But what'd you think of that whole like training sequence?
It was so cute. It's weird. It's like goofy. You know it's goofy, but at the same time too, you just can't help but to tear up a little bit. It's very sweet in a way. And just see, it's so funny just seeing him. It's like a jump scare. It's really like, it is so cute though, because you see how much Mando loves Grogu. And so I hope this is a build up to one day seeing a more mature Grogu and he adopts the way of Mandalore and stuff like that. I think that'll be really awesome to see, just seeing like his suit and stuff. We kind of see, again, this show's very much like an RPG. So in a way we see these two characters acquiring certain gear. But just seeing that, I'm surprised they had that gauntlet thing to shoot like the needles at each other.
It couldn't even fit him like that.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that shit was like giving a baby a Rolex or some shit.
Yeah, it was really like kind of silly, but at the same time, I don't know, it was kind of sweet, and also I think it foreshadows that I think Grogu could use both sides. And to fight later on. So he definitely did that. Mando was encouraging him to do that.
It's a nice breakaway from this kind of dogma that Star Wars is like, oh, well, you have to, if you're Force sensitive, you have to be a Jedi, you have to be a Sith, right?
Right.
Or if like, you don't have special powers, you have to be a bounty hunter, right? So it's kind of like a breakaway from that. I really appreciate what, the creators of this show do, because it's like, it feels like this show has so much freedom to explore different territories. So it's like Grogu doesn't have to be a Jedi. He can come from the Jedi, but that's not exactly what he wants, right? It's his choice. And, we explore that in the Book of Boba Fett. But here it's like, it's interesting how they're trying to do it. It's like, it feels silly, like I said, but it's like, I wonder how it'll play out. And yeah, I definitely would like to see like a more mature Grogu. Like, even if he's not like physically mature, like maybe his mentality, like he's smarter or something. I'd like to see how that plays out with his training, and I like how accepting the Mandalorians are, like you said in the other review, because it feels like they really are a creed. Like, it doesn't matter like where you come from. It's kind of like this refugee family in a way. It's like you can come from anywhere, but we'll still accept you, right? Because we're not about beliefs or politics, right? Because they even took Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan like hated the Children of the Watch, so it was so interesting. And yeah, so then we go in a little bit. So the armor kind of like makes this little you said it was like
it's a plate, okay,
top dish or something.
Yeah, it's a dish. She should have made a spoon and a fork. Like, right. He's getting married.
Well, I thought at first she was making like a little helmet for him or something.
Oh, that would have been so
I think
cool.
Yeah, it would have been too soon. I think maybe they're waiting for that. But yeah, it was cool. Like, it had the Mudhorn like signet on it. It's like this. It's basically like a little circle thing that he wears on his chain. But I thought that was sweet. It was cool too. And then we like Grogu kind of has like this flashback. It's so funny. Like, every time the armor is like constructing something, like, you ever notice that like when she's building something, like whoever she's building it for, they see like recollections of their past.
Yeah.
So Grogu has this memory of Order 66, which we finally see, as it was kind of teased in the trailer. So what do you think of that whole sequence?
Okay, so that was a tearjerker, as I always say. That was it was wonderful to see that moment, and at the same time too kind of bittersweet, because we did get to see Jedi, but they were being slain. I think one notable part about that was the clone trooper armors. That was really cool to see that in live action, and I don't think it was CGI. I think it was just actual like costuming
suits. Yeah,
it was really cool. But what's notable is who comes to the rescue for Grogu, and that is the actor for Jar Jar. And that was props to them because that guy deserves respect, because I remember back in the day when he played Jar Jar, a lot of people were kind of cyberbullying him in a way and talking down about him and whatnot. Ever since that, he has a job now that he's hosting a show with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they talk about the cosmos. So he's a nerd at heart. Yeah. And now he's finally back. And I think if anything, he has probably the best looking robes I've ever seen. I just love that little like tread here or something, like of gold. And he's a badass too. He took out so many clones. So, I mean, this is kind of speculation territory too, because he ends up going to this platform while riding a speeder, trying to escape from these gunships. And so he meets these, it looks like Nabooian pilots or something. And they have that silver ship, that Naboo ship, that looks like the one that
Nubia.
Well, it looks like Padme's. Me and you were going back and forth whether or not that's actually from Padme, or it could just be something that royalty uses, and that's just a common thing. It's like, I don't know, Rolls Royce or something like that. Yeah, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was surreal seeing that. Maybe just because we just got out of Obi-Wan not too long ago, when we saw Order 66 happen with Reva. So it was interesting that they keep going back to Coruscant. We keep, getting this fresh reminder of this. It feels like Order 66 is such an event turner in Star Wars. It's like kind of like their Holocaust, or like their 9/11 in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool like seeing like Coruscant again. I know we just saw it in the last episode. They even showed like the Rock too. That was so funny. Like the highest mountain in Coruscant.
Yeah, he was there, and he was gonna wrestle somebody. Yeah, he was Black Adam. Oh, you mean the actual? Oh, a Rock. Okay.
Yeah, he meant the Rock. He's gonna fight Black Adam.
He wants to be a better hero.
He's so stupid. But yeah, he does rescue. He's so badass too. He had like 2 lightsabers. I thought that was cool. Like, I think that's the first Jedi we've seen use 2 sabers. Well, at least for live action anyway. And then I wonder if that was Padme's ship, or I was saying maybe because Padme is like a senator, but she's not the queen of Naboo anymore. So maybe it was like the queen ship, or it could just be like a random Naboo ship, or maybe he just has like connection. I was saying maybe it would be cool, like, what if it was like it led back to like Bail Organa, like he somehow like had some ties to that after what he saw what happened at the temple.
Yeah, you said that, but it's like he really did wrong, like with Grogu, because Grogu, man, he ended up in a bad situation. So like, Bail then deserves to spit in the face. I tell you that much.
That's why he's called Bail. He bails on him at the last minute.
Yeah, but like in a shitty way. It's like, oh, okay. Like,
but yeah, that was interesting. So we get to see a little bit of Grogu's past. That's still kind of a mystery because we don't know how he ended up on that planet that Mando found him. But it leaves room for exploration, which we'll probably touch on either in this season or the coming seasons ahead. But going back to the episode, well, first of all, that kid that Grogu was trading with was actually, it was confirmed that was Paz Vizsla's son. I thought that was interesting because a lot of people were theorizing because of the color of his helmet, he might be his son. So I thought that was cool. Mention that they didn't have to do that, but that was just interesting that they did that. So he gets kind of like kidnapped by this pterodactyl thing, and they kind of go off in this quest to find him. And Bo-Katan leads the quest, and I thought it was interesting. This is definitely her episode as a character driving force, because now she's kind of rediscovering herself. Like we've kind of talked about, like you mentioned, like she's kind of like finding religion, finding her place among this people. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they're all in the great thing about this cult, I don't even like to call it a cult, to be honest with you, because they're so fleshed out at this point that they just seem like a nice tribe, right? It's all about pilgrimage in a way. I don't know. It's like, I think there's a lot of intertextuality that has to do with like certain historical figures and the way how they find they find themselves in certain situations that will lead to them adopting a certain type of philosophy. We've seen this with the Viking era. This happened a lot with Christianity. So that's why I think they're trying to push hard for Bo-Katan, because she is in Star Wars a historical figure of some sort, right? She is pretty important. She's just now, unfortunately, a has-been. I feel like there's something great for her in the future. And she's eventually going to go through not only a physical battle, but a spiritual battle. I mean, we're seeing the seeds of that. And so this is the first step that she's taking to really help people out. She kind of reminds me of Ragnar in a sense. Which is funny because Paz Vizsla's son is named Ragnar, which is so interesting.
Funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, that's why I kind of compared it to the Vikings. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. So yeah, I think it's really sweet too, because I thought she'll be like a bitch, like nah, I'm gonna take off my helmet or whatever. No, but she was so respectful. Again, she's like seeking for something, and I find that really sweet. I actually like her character a lot more than I did in the other seasons now.
And even Paz Vizsla like kind of like respected her. He's like the war leader gets to sit by the fire, right? Man. It's kind of like he's like honoring her in a way, and that attributes to his character as well, because he kind of like became more humble over the seasons too. Like he kind of like respects Mando, now he respects Bo-Katan.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and just Bo-Katan as a character, I think like now she is finally discovering what it means to be Mandalorian. I think like she had ideas of what it meant to be in Clone Wars and early or season 2 of The Mandalorian. Like maybe she thought being Mandalorian meant you had to be the strongest or you had to be like a dictator, right? But I think now she's discovering it's just maybe like being there for somebody else in time of need, or just, you know, being a hero of some sorts, right? It doesn't have to be like you have to be like aggressive or evil in a way.
As Tess says from The Last of Us, save who you can. So there you
well
go.
Said. We're all living in Pedro's world.
Yeah, we really are. Well, let me ask you something, because I want everybody to hear your brilliant point on something. It's kind of symbolic. In the fight between these dragon alien things, she loses a pauldron and she gains one. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting because the armor fashions her a new pauldron, and she asks if she could wear the signet of the mythosaur alongside her night owl signet. So now it feels like she's kind of shedding away her old self in a way. Like her armor is like a physical representation of her past life. And now it's like she's rebuilding her brand, kind of like how Mando did in season 1. And now he's, you know, after being with Grogu, he's building his new identity, right? So I think it's interesting. I think she's going to maybe make like a new set of armor for himself. Even if she doesn't, you know, she's still kind of rebuilding her character in a way. So I think, like you said, there's a lot of intertextuality there.
Yeah. Oh man. I think they're adding so much depth this season too. A lot of characters. I mean, yeah, again, Paz Vizsla's not like a huge character, but we get that little insight that he has a son. So he has something to lose rather than just the tribe. And yeah, he's really respectful and humble. And then again, with Bo-Katan. And of course, Mando is always on a journey. But I feel like Mando, you know what's the funny thing about Mando? He's always going through shit, but he's like the most refined out of everybody, I feel. He has a plan and he's going to do it. And he's just trying to take care of Grogu as well. But yeah, this episode was pretty short. What else thoughts do you have?
Let me ask you, do you think we're kind of done with Mando's story now? Because it feels like he's in a very like achieved state. He did everything he needed to do. And maybe that's why we're so focused with other characters. What do you think?
I don't know. You know how like the show has a bigger threat and that'll eventually be revealed and then it comes to a head at like episode 8. I don't know if we're still waiting for that. It doesn't feel like it. It feels kind of different from the other seasons. And plus, the Book of Boba Fett, it feels different for some reason. It's true. He's at home basically right now. I really don't know. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the show too. The characters, the side characters, they don't just feel like side characters, and you don't feel like a burden to have an episode dedicated to one of these characters. You actually feel like, oh wow, this is pretty nice. I gain a different perspective. Who's to say? I know that the last episode, if anything, probably ties into the bigger plot thread of the season. We start to figure out what's going on too. Maybe Moff Gideon will somehow be involved. I think maybe. they're showing so much of this tribe, it's because they're going to go under threat, or they're going to be threatened by some external force, and it might be the Empire or the remnants of the Empire a little bit later on. And so these are the seeds. Sometimes we get seeds, sometimes we don't. And that's why I think Bo-Katan perhaps will get back to the Mythosaur, and she'll probably utilize the Mythosaur somehow and fight this threat. And so it'll be an epic battle again. I mean, we have those little baby dragons too that they brought back. So it's like maybe all these elements are just going to come together and be really epic and iconic in episode 7 or 8. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it makes me wonder now if, like, will The Mandalorian now be about Grogu and Bo-Katan? Or will, like, Bo-Katan get her own spin-off series?
Oh, I think so. Right? That would be cool.
Because now it seems like now she's on her own journey, right? Because Mando started off with this quest, and also I love how we just forgot about IG-11. Like, he just like, oh yeah, like, I'll come back for you now, and just never came back.
They left it on the floor. Who's gonna clean this mess?
Carl Weathers is still waiting. He's like,
no, he's not waiting. He said, you know what? I'm gonna direct this episode instead of cleaning the mess on the floor. That's what he probably did.
But yeah, it's like Mando started off in this quest, and now it feels like he's kind of done, and now it feels like, you know, he's redeemed himself, and now he's integrated Grogu into this society, and now Bo-Katan is kind of rediscovering herself, like we said. So it's like, and now she's like really intrigued about finding the Mythosaur. So I wonder if, like I said in an earlier review, like maybe she's gonna tame it or hunt it or something. But now it seems like she's so invested in this clan now. I wonder, like, I don't see her, like, honestly, like, going back to her old ways. It seems like she's found a new home for herself. And it feels like this is her last chance at finding a family or finding redemption. So I don't think she would want to waste that. And yeah, like, we do have kind of like the Moff Gideon like cloud in the air somewhere, because with Dr. Pershing, I wonder what's going to happen with that, because it doesn't seem like there's a big threat at play. Maybe it's just a series about the Mandalorians kind of like reforming or regrouping, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was an awesome episode. If I had to rate it, honestly, I'd probably give it 9 out of 10.
Oh, now you give it a 9 every time. You always give it one more. Now it's 9 out of 10. Okay, yeah, I give it 9 out of 10 too.
Probably I'll change my ways too. I'll say it's a 9 out of 10.
That's why it's good doing 2 of these.
This is the way.
Yeah. This is the way. You hear that, everybody? That is our review for episode 4 of The Mandalorian, now streaming on Disney Plus. Guys, if you like this video, make sure to do that like button for Grogu. Look, he's saying hi to you, so please do that, all right? And check out our other reviews as well. We have a lot of content planned for the future, and especially this week. My God, we're so tired. But anyway, Dylan, take us away.
So much content planned, guys. Check out our other playlists if you haven't already. Check out our reviews. We still have some movies covering this week. We have so many movies we already reviewed this past month. Go check those out. Check us out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Until then, this is the way.
This is the way. See you guys.